Before I dive into this incredible research paper and all the examples and use cases, keep in mind that NVIDIA has been powering the AI race with a new text-to-video tool. Well, just like clockwork, another new AI software research paper is here. A lot of people have been saying that text-to-video is far, far away and the rapid advancements won't be coming anytime soon. It starts by mentioning how latent diffusion models can be used for high-resolution video synthesis. Essentially, it just means that they're creating a text-to-video with models like Stable Diffusion, and you can see right here from this first example. I've added to the bottom, in which you can see right here to read. Sunset time-lapse at the beach, moving clouds and colors in the sky in 4K high resolution. For my part, and I could be wrong about this, I think this is about as realistic as it gets. If you enjoy videos like this, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. Also leave a comment below on the future of AI. Text-to-video these days aren't quite as good as this, but it should give you an idea of how quickly the AI race is actually advancing in areas we never believed were possible. Okay, so they've given us a ton of examples, and there are a ton of things included in the research paper, so let's talk a little bit more about how this stuff actually works, and then we can go into some more of the examples. A lot is said in the abstract, but I think this one sentence sums up what's going on best. Doing so, we turn the publicly available state-of-the-art text-to-image Stable Diffusion into an efficient and expressive text-to-video model with a resolution of up to 1:80 by 2048. So basically, they're stating that they converted a Stable Diffusion into a text-to-video editor, and the results appear pretty remarkable. However, I'm not sure when this will be released, as I believe they're still working on improving the algorithm. Check out some of the other examples they sent us. When we finally get to the end, I'm curious if any of you have noticed a pattern among these text-to-video generators. I'm starting to realize that with text-to-video, there's a certain kind of text-to-video that works, but there's a certain kind that doesn't. Anyways, let's take a look. So here's one of the first prompts. A teddy bear is playing the electric guitar, high-definition 4K. Of course, this isn't the nicest kind of video, but it does show some sort of development, so I assume it was a fan favorite, and you can see that this image is obviously based on Stable Diffusion, which they've utilized to make this kind of video. It's interesting that they've employed Stable Diffusion to do this, as it appears that most other text-to-video editors take a different approach. I mean, take a look at this one. It's the stormtrooper vacuuming the beach, and it's not like it's terrible. Of course, I will state the obvious and say that this is not yet suitable for movie production, but keep in mind what DALL-E 2 looked like in its early stages. Considering the current state of video production, this is an intriguing case study, but I have to be honest with you. This one right here, fantasy landscape trending on ArtStation, 4K resolution. It is so far one of the better looking ones, and while I wouldn't call it realistic, I do think it would look great in a video game or an animated movie or even a relaxing YouTube video. Now we have another one showing a turtle swimming in the ocean. I noticed these text-to-video generators have trouble dealing with dynamic elements. I suppose you could say that pictures of animals in motion tend to turn out poorly, but I'll let you be the judge of that because I don't think this one is quite as horrible. It isn't quite as good as Midjourney's, but it gives us a glimpse into the future nonetheless. Now this one I really enjoy since it's a close-up of grapes on a spinning table in high definition. However, I can't deny that, at least according to the text prompt, this one appears to be pretty decent. One thing I've noticed about many of these images is that there is a little bit of grain, which I would like to see removed in future versions. Now this is one of the more intriguing ones, and it's rather funny too. It says a koala bear playing piano in the forest, and well, it sort of looks like a koala bear playing a piano in the forest. And well, I mean, stay with me here. NVIDIA did release something pretty fantastic with this program that I haven't shown you yet, so stay tuned for some examples. This one right here is another one of my favorites, a traveler walking alone in the misty forest at sunset. As you can see, the painting does a great job of capturing the moody atmosphere of a setting sun by Stable Diffusion. But the walking motion of the character on the left isn't quite right. Nonetheless, I'm confident that with a few tweaks, it will be just fine. Here's the last one I'll show you before we move on to NVIDIA's fantastic release with this, which includes a time-lapse of the aurora in the sky at 4K resolution. As I mentioned before, it appears that this is where the video text-to-video kinda lead in. They did provide something else, which I think is very, very nice because it does have some use cases, so let's look at what else they release along with this research report. Dream Booth, which is essentially fine-tuning text-to-image diffusion models for subject-driven video generation, is what I'm demonstrating on screen right now to illustrate the concept of personalized video generation. Essentially, if you input a certain amount of images, you can then obtain other images with that object inserted at various locations. For instance, in the on-screen example, the dog is placed in a doghouse, a bucket, and several other images. There are many potential uses for this technology because everyone has personal items they'd like to save without physically moving. The number of potential applications for this is mind-boggling, but the reason I brought up Dream Booth, which yes already exists, is that they attempted something similar with their AI video creator. They used Kermit the Frog photos as training data, and this is the following video. They used the text prompt, ASKS frog playing a guitar in a band, where SKS stands for that specific object that's shown in the training data. It's just a code word they use. If Kermit the Frog playing a guitar in a band would be an example here. Of course, even though it doesn't look incredibly realistic, we can see right here that the picture generated looks far more realistic than some of the moving ones we saw in the beginning. So it's evident that when you supply that driving image, your outcomes will be far superior. I mean, look at Kermit the Frog, hard at work on his research paper. This most certainly does appear to be more realistic. To me, the most important thing is that they put the video's subject in the video clearly, despite the fact that neither the animations nor the background are particularly well done. Now what's also interesting is that they did a very hard image. Here you can see this teapot has multiple colors and many different ones, but somehow the AI actually does manage to get the text prompt correct. Here we have a SKS teapot floating in the ocean. The ripples aren't too bad and the production is rather respectable, the fact that it's able to decently keep that teapot balanced. Something that they also did was driving scene video generation, in which they trained the video LDM on real-world driving video scene scenarios in order to make these videos, some of which are as long as 5 minutes. Here's a high-definition clip showing a driver's perspective, which they chose Pick America, which looks pretty good. Certainly, there is some distortion on the cars that do go by, but I think for dashcam videos, it does seem pretty accurate. I say that knowing that, yes, there is some distortion there on the cars that do go by. It kind of looks odd on the trees and on the freeways, but I still think that, for instance, this video is fairly remarkable in terms of what it is able to accomplish. What's also interesting is that they intended to execute a certain driving scenario simulations, which makes their motivations for doing so more intriguing. What they did was, presumably, construct an image out of the boxes, and by doing so, they were able to simulate a certain situation, the results of which can be seen in the video they developed. Which is nice because it demonstrates that for the use case that you know, maybe if you're a new driver and you want to simply say, all right, what should I do in this situation? You can make particular video scenarios based on what you want. What do I do if 3 cars are speeding toward me and crashing into me? How is that going to work? That seems like it may be a real use case, and there is clearly some really interesting work being done at NVIDIA. Another thing is whether or not the future of text-to-video converters will involve the usage of Midjourney rather than Stable Diffusion, knowing that Midjourney is currently at a position where it does not require any further improvement. Thanks for watching to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss the next update.